my book.
All right, people are joining. I did want to start. Karen, I don't usually start our things off crying, but we had a member of our book group who passed away. And what I wanted to do was, find it.
Was Joyce, right?
Joyce. And
Joyce.
we're gonna, I wrote it all. Okay, good. So when I send out the book club things, you can't see what everybody, it's my program. So I just wanted to say that this is what people, this is what people said about Joyce. And I thought it was very, we're talking about Joyce, who passed away. And I sent out that. Thanks for letting us know, Vanessa. I didn't know Joyce other than through book club. It's always sad when a good person leaves us. Hugs to Maya. Thanks for the update. Joyce often added so much insight to our discussion. Didn't know she was ill. And I don't think.
Did you know that she was?
I didn't. I didn't.
I didn't know she was.
I had no idea.
I don't know who I
You
mentioned
mentioned
it to.
to me.
She wasn't looking well to me on the video.
Yeah, you said that.
And we hadn't seen her in so long.
Yeah.
But she hasn't been.
Someone said that she had chronic cancer years
Judy,
ago.
I am overwhelmed at how this has affected me. Although I spend a limited time with these lovely, intelligent women, I have never realized how much they have become critical to my well-being. The vibrancy of the group.
Who's this from? Joyce?
Judy. About Joy. The vibrancy of the group, their insights and histories have immeasurably enriched my life. Thank you for facilitating even when tragedies strike. I always enjoy Joyce's participation, and I'm sad to read this.
Wow.
So we're remembering Joyce, and
Also, whatchamacallit died too. Judy. Not too long ago.
Judy Peterman.
Judy Peterman.
that was years ago. That was years ago. Right.
That was years ago.
Yesterday.
But wait a minute, I do have something to add.
Okay, Terry.
So it's very bizarre how life works. I just lost my good friend, Deanna Drucker.
Oh, yes.
Deanna and Joyce were roommates.
Oh,
They were buried on the same day.
Oh, my God.
And Deanna had buried two husbands and she'd been with a lovely man for 12 years. And he told me that he and Alan, Joyce's husband, and Deanna, that the four of them had become very close. And the men would say, it's like a race between the two of them to see who's going to go first. Deanna had the most incredible attitude. She had a combination of cancers, a brain cancer and something, two very unusual things. And she chose not to do treatment because she just wanted to get to her granddaughter's wedding. And then she said, I've lived a good life. I'm okay. She got to the ceremony and she died 2 days later. So they arranged the funerals at Chicago Jewish Funerals. They arranged it so I had the service in the morning and Deanna in the afternoon so that their good friends could go to both.
Yeah.
And her friend that spoke, Deanna's friend, said at Joyce's, they talked a lot about Deanna as well. And that it was just an incredible thing that the two of them.
Wow.
And I didn't know that I didn't know Joyce's last night. So when I heard that she had passed away, it didn't mean anything. And then
Like, oh my
I
God.
looked up her obituary and I saw her face and I said, oh, that's our Joyce. Well, and then you wrote that. So it was
I
just
said
bizarre.
surreal.
Isn't that weird?
All right, Judy.
Yes, I wanted to tell everyone that the Highland Park Public Library has a facility where they show authors who speak for 1 hour. Tonight at 6:00, Malala is going to speak.
Oh.
So if you're interested in hearing about Malala, I would call the library. I had already signed up for it. It never occurred to me to tell you guys earlier.
Yeah.
But if you're interested, it's a 1 hour thing. You sign up for it. You just watch it on your phone or your computer. That's it.
Oh,
It's
well,
That's great.
on Zoom. Anyone can watch it from wherever they are. And I've participated in one of these before with them, and it's awesome.
Okay.
So
All right.
Thank
Thank you. Also, Mazel Tov to Elaine on the marriage of her grandson. I saw the pictures.
Yeah, beautiful.
Beautiful.
And
And,
Colorado was
um,
70 and sunny every
right,
day.
so, Karen, I'm a new grandmother. I have 3 grandchildren. The last one was born last week. And
How do you
I,
pronounce the name?
Imogen,
Imogen.
also.
A Southern, an actress with it, Imogen Coco?
Yeah.
No.
I think it was Imogen.
I thought about that.
You know what is your email?
So,
I am on.
Why they?
Yeah, no E.
Yeah. IMO.
Not Imogen.
So I sent you the letter, but I don't think the pictures came up, but there's my dad and my mom and my dad and when they got married and they, he loved Shakespeare, love Shakespeare. And I had to clean up some of the letter because my son-in-law said, he didn't take any bullshit. And I said, you know what? I
I
also.
got that in my email.
Maybe I didn't. But wait, but I'm doing a bulletin article and I took that out. I don't think my dad would like that. Anyway, it was great being with him. Now, just as we say, al regel echad on one leg. She had a home birth. Everything went fine. And it happened so fast that one midwife almost didn't get there. She was supposed to have the baby in a pool. They were trying to fill it up as she's giving birth. We were taking the kids to school. And Esme, who's 5, I take her to her class, and they're in a lovely school in Washington, D.C., and there's an older woman waiting for her kids to come in, a teacher. And Esme, screams at the top of her lungs, "My mom's having a baby!" And the teacher says, "Oh, did you come from the hospital?" And she goes, "It's a home birth." I thought I was going to have to resuscitate this. Eyes were like, "Oh my God, they don't have enough money to go to the hospital." So, as bing, bang, boom, I do have to say, I have a different, she could eat. There was no beeping, no machines. It wasn't invasive. I mean, now listen, it's her 3rd child and the other ones had been fun. So, Terry.
I have to tell you, my daughter-in-law was a home birth midwife. And when they first told us they were having a home birth, they had us watch a little movie. And we watched the movie and I said, "I've watched this and I understand how you feel, but I have to be honest, if it were me, I would still be going to the hospital." But she did it for a number of years. Finally, it got too difficult. She ended up becoming a nurse.
Yeah, it's hard.
But she really, she had hers, it was a water birth. She did all 3 kids that way. She believed in it. When we did the birth announcement, she wanted it to say home birth.
Yeah.
And, it's a whole different, it's Oregon.
My daughter.
It's Oregon.
Well, my daughter gave birth.
I understood. I was just in Colorado.
Yeah.
In water.
Okay.
In a tub. Oh my
At
God.
the
I
hospital?
thought, oh my God,
I know.
the baby's gonna drown.
I know.
I mean, I was just.
It's a new life. Okay, Sandy, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to talk about something else, but since you're talking about home birth, I have 3 daughters, and the first 2 had long labors, and I depended on the doctors and went through a long, painful thing. With the 3rd child, I was with a different doctor at a different hospital. Nobody came in. I was in the prep room, and they didn't think I was due for a long labor, but I looked down and I delivered my own baby.
Oh, wow.
She just came. They had me lay down. The nurses walked out of the room. I felt something. I put my hand down there to raise the sheet, and there was this curly head of dark hair, and I had the baby in my arms.
Wow.
I delivered her. But the reason I raised my hand was I wanted to say that I was at Joyce's funeral. Joyce was part of our family circle, and she knew for the last year that she had a difficult breast cancer. And they thought after surgery, chemo and everything, that she was going to make it until about 3 months ago. They realized it had metastasized. And Joyce, the pride of her life was her 3 grandsons, terrific boys, just wonderful teenage boys. And they all spoke at her funeral. And the thing that I came out of that with was this. They raved about making gefilte fish with her, how she taught them how to make gefilte fish. And I decided that day that I will never buy another jar of gefilte fish. I have made my own in the past many years ago, but I'm going to go back to making my own gefilte fish.
You're inspired.
And I will always think of Joyce when I make it.
Yeah.
Good. So we're thinking of her and may she rest in peace. Zichrono livracha. May her memory be a blessing. And now we go to chaos theory.
Exactly.
And I'm going to miss Courtney Zoffness and us psychoanalyzing her. She has a lot of. Have you had a chance to read the book?
I am not.
Okay, I'm happy to give you mine as I take out all my things. But we can tell you, she has a lot of anxiety. She tried not to pass that on to her children. I don't know how successful she was. I mean, she is seeing a therapist, but what?
Her parents are divorced.
Her parents are divorced, right? She married somebody who wasn't
The
Jewish.
astrologist.
What? Oh, the astrologist. So in this last book, the therapist says you should go to an astrologist. And I was reading that. We're skipping to the end, but that's okay. When I was reading that, I thought, oh, that's kooky.
I know.
So kooky. Who does that? And then, of course, Courtney, she goes, she has a reading, whatever. And then at the very end, the psychologist says, yeah, I don't believe in that. I was like, what is the matter with you?
Right.
She wanted to have another experience.
Yeah.
She just
I
wanted.
was gonna say, she's been desperate throughout this book to find out who she is. And she's taken us through all kinds of experiences to see who am I and what am I and where am I going? And so I think it's perfect that she starts this. I want to tell you about broken glass because that's this woman.
And I've seen, they took the glass that her husband broke at their wedding, and you break that glass. There's many, many reasons, but to remind you that the world, there's unbroken things and sad things happening in the world, not just happy things. And I thought it was, I don't know what the word is, but it kept falling. So it was shards and it was slivers, that it was specks.
But you know what, if you think about it, I found it very meaningful. Maybe because I just came from a wedding.
Yes.
It was that happens in life.
Yes.
You go along and then somebody punches you.
Yeah.
And something happens. Then you pick yourself up and something happens again.
Yeah.
And even the astrology part, yes, it was kooky, but people believe in that. And I can't tell you how many times people say, what's your sign? And they'll say to me, oh, you know everything, you're a Capricorn. And I am a Capricorn. That kind of thing. So I found the story not really creepy. I found it more meaningful.
Right.
Yeah.
Izzy and then Judy. And then Alice.
There's nothing unkind about any of the 12 signs. So if you look at it and you read it and you identify with it, it's all positive. There's nothing negative about it. So you can only gain self-esteem from reading it. Because they're all good.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Judy.
I think in the beginning, I did not like this book. I'm really sad that the book is over now.
Yes.
Karen, see, you're seeing that you have to give it a hot minute.
The evolution of this woman is like the evolution of life, the constant discovery and figuring out. And so I liked that they brought in the astrology because it needed another punch.
Yeah.
And that gave her the final punch. I love this book. And I think the last, second to last paragraph You're a writer. Practitioners of the aesthetic arts connect us to one another and offer a context for pain. And actually, that's what the book has been about
Yes.
for me.
Yeah.
I just
Great.
love this book and I like her because I can relate to this person.
Where were you, Judy, when you were?
You're a
Last
writer,
very end of the
page
story.
204.
Okay,
If you're a writer, she says, as if I were unaware,
Excellent.
practitioners of the aesthetic arts connect us to one another and offer a context for pain. And I think that's true.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're looking for when we read.
Alice,
the
Alice,
first
wait,
chapter.
Alice, and then Elaine. Alice, go.
Yeah. Judy, I agree with you. But I am different. I love this book from the very beginning. But this is the other thing I wanted to say. This woman is a lot younger than me. I don't know, how old is she?
In her 40s. I think.
Okay, yeah, so she could be, most of our children. Okay. But I thought that the placement of this story at the end, even though this book is not chronological, I thought it was very, very telling and very good in that it's, as other people, it's so reflective. And she, I feel the older I get, the more reflective I get. You think, well, what is this all about? And what does it mean? And what does my life mean? And everything. So oh my God, I loved this story. And you know what? Yeah, she went to astrologer. She's going to a therapist. But don't we all do something? Do we go to a therapist? Do we go to an astrologer? Do we go to synagogue? Do we go to book club? Do we go to book club? I feel like everybody's searching for what
Yes.
their meaning is. And I
Yes.
felt that this story, oh my God, it just hit me in my heart.
Elaine,
I don't have anything.
Terry, Evie, Lynn.
Forget me.
Okay, Terry.
So I was struck by the time she said, I want to tell you. That was something that she said over and over.
Yes, she did.
And I was trying to kind of get a grasp on what she was really saying. In other words, I'm not really sure, but I want to tell you. I mean, how many times did she say, I want to tell you that I became a convert in this moment, that my doubts about astrology receded like the tide. I want to say that every appraisal she made in this meeting resulted in my staring into the cavity of myself and nodding with vigor. I want to tell you too about storytelling. So I think it's like, this is the end where she's trying to say, this is what I've been trying to tell you. You know, you kind of have that sense of her.
I think it was a literary
Device.
thank you. I couldn't think of the word. Because remember when she goes, I'm pregnant for my, she would repeat things in different stories of the keyword. Lynn and then Barb.
I think other people were before me.
No,
No.
Elaine's hearing you.
Hey,
I
I
know.
write it down. I
Okay,
write it
okay.
down because I don't
I
remember.
want to be equitable here.
Thank you.
On page 200, these two pages so spoke to me. And that was the beauty of this book. I found something of myself in each of the chapters of the book. And this, I want to tell you, I think is a device for bringing us in
Yes.
and empathizing.
Yes.
I mean, to me, literature is about empathy, developing empathy. But at the end here, she said, part of the project of life, the astrologer says, is to live in concert with our vulnerabilities, even as we live with our gifts. And I think this is what the heart of this book is. She's discovering, okay, I've got faults, but I also am a good person. So I think that's a lesson for me. I want to tell you that after all of her insights, are this astute, that through her reading, I am rebuilt, made anew. So this is a happy ending. She moves her finger around the page, says, there's an order, an orderliness to how you think. And this is the chaos theory. I am an associative, scattered thinker. That's me. I said, oh, you're talking to me. I think the way I clean my apartment while folding laundry, I noticed my son's inhaler on the shelf and walked in the kitchen to place it in the cabinet wherein I noticed dishes in the sink and begin to.
That's
I
me,
love it.
everybody.
That's
Most of
me.
us.
I mean, that's to me. I bite my lip. And then she ends with, for me, you feel torn, she says, between your profession and your partnership, between work and family. You have to figure out how to navigate those conflicting needs. And this has been my whole life and my daughter's life and a lot of people I know, their lives. And the word amalgam just struck me. She used that a couple of times. We are all amalgams of good and bad and frenetic and calm and this and that. And I guess we just have to come to terms with that's who we
So
are.
we are all good.
Yeah, that's us.
We're all different things.
Yeah, I know.
We have to accept it.
Exactly.
I have Barb, Merle, then Judy. Barb.
Hi. Okay, so I think a lot of this for me, I love this book. I wasn't wild about the first chapter, but once
That's what put us off.
what else.
That's what put us off. So please, I'm giving you the book. You got to get past that first.
Oh, I loved it.
anyhow, so much of this,
Go ahead, Barb.
so much of this book is about her anxiety, the anxiety of her family and how she deals with her life, as we all do. And I think a lot of it to me, the big picture here is about control, about how much we have and how little we have.
Right, exactly.
When you go to an astrologer, this astrologer is looking at her lines and looking backward, but it's also trying to give her some answers for the type of person she is or how she deals with things. And, looking backward or looking forward too, like if the astrologer is also a fortune teller, can be even more anxiety producing. I had an experience myself when my daughter was being treated at NYU, and my husband and I were walking past, we were going to meet a friend for dinner while she was hospitalized. And we were walking past and there was a fortune teller and she once said she was calling us to come in and you should come in. And I was terrified. It's a moment in my life that I'll never forget. I was like terrified. I was afraid to find out what was in the future. And I think so, looking forward or backward, looking backward and wondering why is anxiety producing, looking forward can be very anxiety producing. But again, to Lynn's point, making it all work and, what we choose for our life, how much of it we choose, how involved we want to be, is our choice to make it work for us and make it personally our own.
You're here. Merle,
Wow.
then Judy. Wait, Evie?
Yeah, I have my hand up.
Damn it.
That's
All
okay.
right, Evie, go, because
Oh,
I
I
missed
forgot what I
you.
was gonna say. Oh, okay. First of all, as I'm listening to this, I really did not like the book. But the best discussions come from the book, okay?
Yeah.
And the thing that spoke to me about this, I thought it was Narishkite, when my oldest son, my younger son got married first. So, and all of a sudden became fashionable to take the stuff from the broken glass and create something expensive and gorgeous and so on and so forth. I had no patience for that. Now I can sort of appreciate it, I'm glad that I don't think they did it. I don't know. But what spoke to me about this astrology thing is I'm a Libra and I love running into Libras. And we had dinner with somebody, a friend's boyfriend, a gentleman, a number of years ago. And he's a fellow Libra. And I was really excited about that. And I said, his name is Julian, just like my husband. So that's pretty weird too. And I said, well, we're both Libras. And he looked at me and said, yeah. And I said something about balance. And I'm always looking for balance. And he said to me, yeah, a chip on both your shoulders. Wow. I love the discussion of this, but I really didn't enjoy reading it. So I'm kind of happy we're.
Okay. Merle, go ahead. I'm going to unmute you and go.
I like the discussions.
I thought she had a lot of wisdom in all of the stories. I think that her anxiety really was very palpable throughout the book. And I think people with anxiety who would relate to it, but there were some moments of wisdom. I was thinking about, when do people go to an astrologer? It's the last resort. My sister died in 2004. She was 69 years old. She died of multiple myeloma. And for 7 years, she had to go through this journey from being not too sick at the beginning to be dying in the last 2 years. Horrible. She went to an astrologer at some point to talk about it as a last resort after talking to Rabbi Taylor and other people of wisdom. So what I loved about this book, though, there were certain quotes that I wrote down. The main reason to go to an astrologer is because it can be liberating, a relief to realize we're not in control. And Courtney wants it all, liberation and relief. I want less self-blame and more cosmic reassurance. And then she talks about her writing, how she begins to bring the imaginal into the real. And you have to figure out how to navigate your profession and your partnership, working and parenting. And I thought everybody can relate to that. So I thought she really did this. I thought this was one of the best stories in the book, the concluding story, where we really understand what she's about. Her anxiety permeates her whole life. So she went to an astrologer and it helped. So I thought it was good ended.
Yeah. Yeah. Judy.
I loved a quote on 198. I want to tell the astrologist that my life's work is translating amorphous, indeterminate imaginings into concrete prose, that I invent whole worlds into existence. I think that's what she is. She has described herself in this last story, and this is who she is. I admire that.
I keep thinking, and then to Lynn, Barb, about what you said, that looking into the future is anxiety producing. And Lee Tao, the one who just had all of the kids, has anxiety. And our family is usually, when am I going to see you? What's happening next? What's for dinner tomorrow night? And she's like, can we just stay in the present? And until now, I never thought about that it is anxiety producing to like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And how are we going to do it? And it just revs. And, when you have two other kids there and, you talk about going to the park, you can't talk about going to the park until you go to the park. So, all right, I have Lynn and then Elaine.
I don't want to repeat what's been going on, but I think what also struck me in this book is that somebody once asked me, do you believe in fate? And I said, I think I do believe in fate sometimes, but I also believe in free will. I mean, I know that I am in control most of the time, but not all of the time.
Yeah.
And there are times that I speak to my mother because something's happening and it works out. And I say, thank you, Mom.
I do that too.
Do you do that too?
Yeah, I talk to my mother, my aunt every day.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
So-
And I appreciate it. And
Yeah. So I think we are all amalgams. I think I've said that. And we have different needs inside ourselves. And we're constantly figuring out how to solve that conflict. And I think she was just so overwhelmed with all the conflicts in her life. And we were fortunate to go on her journey with her to try to figure it out. Now, I think she realizes, she's in control sometimes and sometimes she's not. Is she good all the time? No, she's bad all the time. We all have a dark side. I think I've said that in this class.
absolutely.
So I guess we just have to come to terms with who we are. You are what you are.
Did she write a follow-up?
I was just.
What she did after this?
Let me look, but wait a minute now. Elaine, let Elaine speak and then I'll tell you what I thought.
As everyone knows, I like to talk about myself. Okay.
Thanks for letting us know.
I just came from
We never would have guessed that.
well, I'm honest. Okay.
You are.
That's a good trait.
Yeah.
I just came from this wedding, and it was a small wedding with basically family and the bride and groom's friend. And one of the relatives is also a widow. She was widowed earlier than I was. She is in such a dark place, hates the world, hates everyone, and doesn't have, I said, you have tons of friends, you do all this. No, I don't. Everything is negative. And I thought, and then I came home last night and hadn't read the story. And now I read it and I thought, you know what? We are, as Lynn said, we're half and half. We do the best we can. And you have to be positive. Otherwise, you're going to get broken like these shards of the glass kept getting broken. I thought that was a very significant thing in whatever you call it, and I'm not smart enough to know. Okay.
Literary device.
Huh?
I agree
Yeah,
with you.
but it was very significant, and then you've got to move on. And I think this book has changed our group. I think we have become much closer because it was human, and we discussed things that it wasn't just literal or literature. We discussed our lives.
Yeah.
And I think it brought us closer, and that's a good thing.
I agree. Can I mention one thing? I'm gonna
And then
piggyback on
Yeah.
her. That first line grabbed me immediately about the broken glass and how the shards kept getting smaller and
Yes.
smaller. So I think what you're saying is if you let that broken glass keep breaking, you're down to nothing. You're down to
Exactly.
dust. So. And you
You
can't
gotta
put
move-
it all together
No.
like in the beautiful shape
No.
it was
And,
either.
and she's saying she's flawed. Yes, I am, but I move on.
Right.
And I think that is the important lesson in the book. It all,
Here,
no,
here.
I did not like the first chapter, but I loved it after
I
that.
have Sue, Barb, Terry, Izzy. Sue, Sue Weller.
Okay, so I'm one who did not particularly enjoy reading this book. I guess I have a problem with somebody making their personal life so public. And if I were her husband, I'd be furious. I just, I can't, I know that I have all kinds of things going on in my life. I like to talk about myself too, I guess. And I would, it's my business. It's not the business of the whole world, and I don't want my troubles.
Everybody's.
And I don't want my
do that.
troubles being discussed.
Everybody's different.
Yeah, I mean,
Everybody's different.
I'm different than, but I've enjoyed this group and I enjoy hearing it, what everybody has to say. And I find it interesting and nobody gets angry at anybody else and we're all entitled to the way we feel. And the one thing that really struck me in this chapter was her constant being distracted. Because that's me in a nutshell.
I think it's a
If
lot.
I could tell you this morning even what, and yesterday I completely almost destroyed a pan because I was cooking something in my, and I got distracted and I walked away and I thought this is just going to take a minute. And I got on my computer and it didn't take a minute and I looked, oh my God.
All right, I have Terry, Izzy, Judy, Ellen, Barb, Alice, Beverly. Yikes.
Wow.
Terry, go.
Well, first of all, I just want to make a comment about Sue's comment, which is I'm also a private person, but I've read many books where the author is basically bearing her soul. The one about the woman who left the Orthodox community.
Oh, yeah.
And
The unorthodox.
no, this is a book. And I can't think of her name. I had read other books of hers. She's from Memphis. Anyway,
Tova Mervis.
thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
Evening Book Club, we're reading that later this year.
But she's a great writer. And in her book, she basically talks about this man she's dating. I mean, obviously her husband that she left and the community she left is going to be upset, but it's cathartic for her. And that's something that she chooses to do. Would I choose to do it? No, but obviously some people do. Also very distracted. I think our phones are a big culprit because I go to look up something. The next thing I know, I'm reading a text, I'm reading an email. I have no idea why I picked up my phone. So that's another story. But the other piece was Judy read part of this, but she left out a part which also spoke to me. I want it all, liberation and relief. I want to trust that a bout of insoluble chest pain and shallow breaths isn't just because of insufficient sleep or disordered thinking or defective biochemistry, but because of planetary behavior. And I think that is part of why she gravitated to the astrologist and what she was saying, because she wanted a reason not to blame herself, but there was something going on in the planets that caused that to happen to her.
Never thought about
And that's, you know, that's how she felt. You know, she was trying to like cosmic reassurance, literally, literally.
Izzy, Judy, Ellen, Barb, and Alice. Izzy.
I was gonna say, when I started to read this, I gave my daughter a mezuzah too with the cracked glass. And at the beginning, how it fell apart 3 times, I thought that was a bad omen. That's how dumb I am. I didn't realize that that was a good thing. I thought they're destined to be divorced.
I thought it was a bad omen too.
So it was just very nice to see a different interpretation.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just made me feel so good because I would have thought they're doomed.
Yeah. Judy.
Sue, Anne Frank wrote a book
Yes,
that's personal and exposes herself.
I read it.
I look for those books.
Me too.
So the thing that upsets you is what I look for. I want to understand people. I want to understand motivation. So while I appreciate what it means to you to expose your personal life, those are the books I look for.
Interesting.
Yes.
Ellen.
You know, throughout the whole book, I have wondered, as some of the things that she supposedly exposes about herself, how we don't know. You know, this is an author who I would like to meet more than most of the authors that I read, to ask her some of these questions. We don't know that she didn't enhance or, you know, use an example from a friend or a relative. And it has struck me that thought, is this really real, or is she borrowing from things, has struck me throughout the book. So I don't know. I like the book a lot. I came to like the book a lot, and we talked about that it wasn't necessarily.
I'm going to read, we wrote her a letter, I wrote her a letter, and she wrote us back, and I'm going to read that at the very end.
Great.
But now I have Barb, Alice, and then Beverly. Barb.
Okay, I wanted to talk about the writing of this. First of all, I think that, you know, when you're writing a short story, it's so compact, and every word has to count. It's just to tell a story in 5 or 10 pages and make it make sense. And you know, it has to be very precise to pack a punch. And I think this is what she has been able to do throughout every chapter, almost not every chapter, but every chapter in this book. And I think it reflects in the conversations we've had, and how the conversations have been just expansive for every time we meet. And so I also feel that by the end here, you know, her style of writing was wonderful. And it really came down at the end where I felt that she was really getting to know herself, and really had self-awareness, and really became to know, after all of these experiences that she's had in life, and the anxieties and the abuse and whatever, that she has really come to figure out who she is.
Here. Alice.
Yeah, I know almost everybody has like quoted something that, you know, from the story that meant something, but on page 190, kind of in the middle of the page, she says, I want to tell you about surrender, about how my husband and I decided not to frame the broken frame with the broken mezuzah, with the broken glass. So I think that, oh my God, that says so much to me. Is yes, we all have brokenness in all different ways, from our family, from health, from a job. I mean, there's so many ways that we can all be broken. But she decided, you know, that's part of her going to the astrologist. I'm going to surrender. I can't control all of this. And kind of Elaine going along with what you said. But you know what? Do I have to be so dark about my life, or can I go on with my life and build upon, what I have. She had a career, she had a husband, she had children. I mean, there were things anchoring her. And just want to say one more thing. This goes to what Sue said and what Judy said. Memoir. I'm in another book club, or I was. It's gone. But anyways, we've talked. Memoirs.
You could have
are
told us, we
very-
wouldn't know if you were not.
No, memoirs are a very specific kind of writing, because what you were saying, Judy, or Ellen, I don't know who said it, but anyways, how much is embellished? Is
Yeah.
this word for word what her life was? Maybe not, but look at the discussions that it provoked in all of us, and the thoughts that,
Yes.
I think maybe every word in this book is not really what happened in her life, but it sure made an impact on me. I'll never forget this book. I thought it was wonderful.
Merle, go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, no, wait, Beverly.
Sorry,
Start
go
with a
ahead.
vanilla.
Wait, Beverly, I'm unmuting you. Beverly, go.
Well, couple things. Number one, I really liked the book. And when I started with this story, it really made me smile because
Great.
when my grandchildren get engaged, I buy each of them a mezuzah with the kiddush cup in the whole.
Yeah.
They love it.
Push it and put it in.
But what I want to say about the story is that when we search, whether it's a therapist, a friend to talk to, a book club to express yourself, an astrologer, we're all looking to make a better life, to have some understanding. And I got what I felt of the essence of the story was the recognition of powerlessness in your life. And when you recognize your powerlessness, it's very empowering.
Yes, true.
That's true.
That is how I felt about this. last
Wow.
Well said.
Well said. I don't know that I could do that, but Merle, then Lynn, then Abby. Merle.
We have many sources in our lives of where to get advice. All those years that Oprah was on, so much advice. She had people who would come on and say to you, you've had a bad week, everything's terrible, but every day is a new beginning. You can create everything anew each day. Okay, so I used to really buy into that. But then reading this
But you
story,
and millions of people, and you felt good being in their group. Well, I might, it's got to be right.
no matter how bad yesterday was, today's the new beginning. That I really bought into that. But now I realize that this thing about control, she said something in the story about someone said to her, God, you've had some bad luck in your
Oh, I
life.
was just gonna read that.
Yes.
Just gonna read that.
I know two different people who recently lost their husbands, two different women, and also lost an adult grandchild.
Oof.
45. Two different, one lost a grandson, one lost a granddaughter.
It's terrible.
And, one was suicide and one was starvation, like anorexia or something.
Oh,
Terrible stories. And these were lovely people who pretty much up to then had very good lives. So you really consider that you're not in control. There's only so much that the Oprah philosophy can do for you. And I think that this chapter really supported that idea. So I think we're all going to walk away a little wiser from reading this.
Oh, so.
Yes.
All right, Lynn, then Abby.
Here.
It's so funny, Merle, because that was the line I was going to read. One thing I have to say about this group, the universality of her chapters, I think, is what struck me when all of a sudden, that's me. And it's comforting to know that other people have your angst or your neuroses or whatever it is. But I think I was trying to get to the title, chaos theory. And what the chaos theory is I think in a chaotic world, and I would say this is the most chaotic world I've ever experienced in my entire life.
As a chaos theory.
So I think we're all searching for control or predictability or
Sanity in this
usefulness
world.
or something.
Understand.
And
Serenity.
you know,
Sanity in this
serenity,
world.
whatever it is, are we searching to try to change this? And then I think she's learning to some things you have to let go. And I have a problem with that because I'm a fixer. You know, I think there's a solution to every problem. And it's
isn't.
not happening.
I agree.
It's not
I am
happening,
too.
and that's why I have so much anxiety. So
Can't fix
this
everything.
really, we have to live, she says, maybe it's because, well, I need provable data, which we can't find here. I also respect how much of existence we cannot explain.
A lot. Abby, then Karen, Abby, and then Terry and Izzy.
At first, I agreed with Sue in terms of her impatience, in terms of her telling her story. But I realized as a covering shy person and as well as I've been working on it for decades.
Good, you're good though, you're not so shy.
And
You're not shy.
And just, wait, what was I gonna say? And also a therapy dropout. And I realized part of the reason that I was a therapy dropout is I can't connect with people unless they shared something about themselves. I'm a very, very private person, always have been, until recently.
Until book group.
Until I got my comfort level. I mean, the first time I came in here about 4 or 5 years, even after we were at my club at Solel for 25 years before we left for many, many years. And when I came back, and I was sitting over there and I didn't know anybody, or, people maybe sort of look familiar, but I had like old, whatever. And it took me until there was a sharing kind of a thing. And I think that's the same thing with books. When I do read a book and people are sharing and something that I can relate to, I had a hard time with this one because some of it was kind of off the wall for me, or maybe a few things related too much, but which I won't go into. But I think the idea of being able to resonate with somebody else sharing kind of opens you up to more self-acceptance as well as
And
the
people
ability
acceptance.
to
Yes.
share. And especially if people can share things that are kind of crazy, then we accept the craziness in us too. And I mean crazy with a small c, but I just so I just want to share personally that I just feel so much more comfortable because of this group in terms of
Thank you.
taking baby steps and with your facilitation. Thank you, Vanessa.
All right. We welcome Karen. Karen, go ahead. For people online, Karen Zeller is here. Yeah, perfect.
So first, let me say thank you so much for having this group, and I'm so delighted that I'm here. And I so wish I would have started when you started this book.
Well, Karen, unbeknownst to you, is we videotape, and you can go back and look, it's on YouTube. I'll send you a link. I won't give you a test afterwards, but you have like 10 hours of watching.
When I have spare 10 hours, that sounds like
Yes.
a good plan. I guess 3 things stick out to me. First of all, connection. That I'm here so that I can connect to women in Highland Park and to connect. And I think we all want connection in our life. And I think that's one of the ways. We all have anxiety. That is a universal thing. There is not a person walking the earth that does not have anxiety. It's how we manage it and how we cope with it, and the devices that we use to cope with that anxiety. And connection is one of those. And being with people and being and sharing of yourself is that. So I'll read it later.
I'm going to give it to you. I was all ready to go here. Terry, Izzy, Alice, and then Elaine. Terry.
So over the high holidays, I don't know if you're familiar with the organization CLAL, Center for
I am.
Leadership. They send out CLAL, CLAL. It's an acronym, Center for Learning and Leadership.
And it's it's post-denominational. They reach out, pluralistic.
Right.
I love Erwin Kula a lot, and they have worked with Eitz Chaim, the one
Right, I used to hear
Right, exactly. That's how I'm familiar. So they sent something before the high holidays that really, really resonated with me. I had never heard, and I'm trying to pull it up now because I want to make sure I have the name right. Kintsugi, I believe.
Oh,
is the
yeah.
Pronunciation.
Avi Orlov just did something. I'm gonna bring up
There was an
Kintsugi.
exhibit we went to see out west.
Oh, no kidding.
He's the one that did the wave.
Oh, I didn't
No,
realize.
no, Kintsugi is the thing.
Oh, that's okay.
It's
never
with
mind.
the pottery.
So the idea is it's Japanese pottery that
Uh-huh.
has cracks.
Yep.
And in the cracks, they put gold.
Right.
And the whole idea of this piece.
There it is.
Right. Was that we all have brokenness. And if you fill the brokenness with something beautiful, that's how you move on with your life. And I really,
Yes.
I really love that imagery. And I really think that that speaks a lot to what we've been talking about because, you know, you talk about broken glass. I mean, we all have these pieces. And if we're not like your friend who is saying, woe is me,
Yes.
but instead trying to look at the positive. I have someone in my life that I'm giving pep talks to on a regular basis.
Right, I
very
mean, she and I
similar.
are so opposite.
Right, and it really, I mean, that really did speak to me.
Wait a minute, Alice, Elaine, Z.
Okay, I think why this book hit all of us in a very strong way. I think art, I think people always talk about, you know, the more specific it is, the more general. My example is, I read this somewhere, or I saw it on TV, Fiddler on the Roof is one of the world's most popular musicals. They do it in Japan. Can you imagine Japanese? But the thing is, what does Fiddler on the Roof do? It's the epitome of family, right?
Yes. Tradition.
Everything about family, the love, the tradition, that people go in different directions. Think about it. And anybody everywhere in the world. So that's why I think that's why this book spoke to all of us, because it's very specific about her family. But we all, you know, whether we're a family of one, of two, of three, whatever, we all are part of a family. The other thing I want to say is, I think this story, and maybe all the stories, it's telling why it's important for her to be an author. And every time she repeats, I want to tell, this was her. She had to, this was how she connected with other people. This is how she connected with the world, was being a storyteller. And I think this story kind of wraps it all up. That's it.
They're here. Elaine and then Izzy. Elaine.
Okay, I think when you open, I mean, my husband was a very private person. I obviously am not. Okay. I think when you open up yourself, you don't have to say your innermost thoughts, but you allow other people in. And I think this book has, I mean, if you think about it, we were all discussing one of the chapters, giving birth. I mean, we're all of an age where we gave birth years ago, but it was familiar and it, you know, that kind of thing. I think when you don't open up, you put a wall in front of you and people are stopped at that wall. I mean, you don't have to always, I mean, I know I do that too much, but talk about yourself. But you have to give some feeling of who you are and what you are. And we all have had wonderful experiences and horrible experiences. And that makes us who we are. And I think this book really forced us to look at ourselves a little bit more and accept ourselves. I think that was what, in the course of the thing, we have learned, hey, I did that 20 years ago and it was a horrible mistake. But now I'm an okay person. And my kids have turned out okay, despite what I did. So it allowed us to be freer. And I think that was the gift that the book gave us.
Izzy.
You know, when we were talking about filling the cracks, the first thing that came into my mind was putting the notes into the wailing wall.
Yeah.
All the holes there, putting your prayers in there to fill out those holes. Then at the end of the day, I think they take them all out and make room for others. But the one thing that she did not talk about in the book was she married somebody not Jewish. Is that correct? She never talked about her husband. She talked about her kids. She talked about herself, her writing, her innermost thoughts. She never mentioned her husband once.
Yeah.
Maybe she
So-
knew Sue, and Sue would have been upset with that.
Maybe you told her beforehand.
And I do want to speak to Sue's comment because one of the things I asked her, one of the chapters was about her mother who played for Jimi Hendrix. I'm like, what's your mother's name? I want to look her up. And this is what she said. Like many memorists, I conceal the identity of several real people to give them a modicum of privacy. I see the essay less about her or her fame in particular, which of course I was starstruck, and more about a daughter discovering reconciling the life her mother lived before she was born. And she was married to this man, Ron, and she goes, agree that Ron was awful. And then there's another chapter that I really liked, Boy in Blue, when her kid wants to be a policeman. And she tells the story of how she was convicted of a felony. And I was like, how could you say that? And she said, it wasn't hard for me to reveal that I'd committed a crime as a harebrained adolescent. Conversely, it felt essential that as a white woman. So I think there's other reasons for some of these stories. I name the ways in which my privilege has protected me, something I didn't think about at age 16. So often the stories that illuminate racist symptoms and told by those who have endured violence and oppression. I wish more people who like I do would self-reflect on how they have been inoculated and spared. So, and I also just wanted to put up her picture again. So we take a look at her. Oh, wait a minute. Well, all right. La, 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 la. Sorry. I had to. Okay. Right. I will. And here she is. And then I'm going to show you a picture of the baby.
I gotta wait.
You gotta wait for the baby. There's Courtney.
Oh, she's beautiful.
She's really beautiful.
She's
Right.
really beautiful.
So, yeah. And here is Imogen, Juniper. I mean, and that,
I'm so happy.
yeah, it was like 3 hours after she was.
Yes. Are you lucky? We're
Wow.
Yeah, right after she was born.
Oh, I wish I could do it again.
Right. And she's got the fancy rocking chair with the ottoman and so, yeah.
That's lovely.
Yeah,
So lucky.
That's wonderful.
I know. It's a great club.
To what Elaine was talking about before with the woman who is so negative and you are so positive compared to her. As everybody here knows, or should, if they don't, I lost my husband in a very tragic way. And next month will be 5 years.
Wow.
Sorry.
I can't believe that.
I can't either. It's something one never gets over. But in not getting over it, you still have to remember, I was so lucky to have him for as many years as I did. And I'm lucky that he doesn't know what's going on in this world today.
Here.
Because he would be terribly unhappy and upset.
Exactly.
But I'm also so grateful for the good things I have in my life. Good friends, a wonderful family who supports me. Oh, okay.
I was just looking at Judy's.
I have to concentrate on the things that are good in my life.
Sue, that's what I was saying.
Yes,
This
and
woman, we spent time, everyone went home and we took a bus tour of Colorado yesterday.
She died in 2022.
Wait,
Who?
Judy Biederman.
Oh,
it's 3 years.
Yeah. You know what? And I said, but you don't, her
I'm sorry.
looking at the world is so distorted from what I know.
right.
And then she said, well, I went here with someone and I went to Mexico with my friend and I went, hello, you know,
Well, my husband always says, when you have those moments, bottle them.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
keep them for those
Yes.
days when you're not feeling.
I mean.
I have one more announcement and then
Yes.
I have Hebrew right after this. I take it flat. On Sunday, it's backwards. Psalms, a millennial's poetic interpretation by Rabbi Dr. Brielle Page Rassler, 10 o'clock on Zoom. I'm going to record it. And if you want a book, we have books and you know, yeah. So it'll be interesting on Sunday. And then the next week we have Eli Sussman. He grew up at Solel and he talks about micro practices. And that's something that
What is that?
it's something you can do for yourself in 2 minutes a day.
Oh.
And his one micro practice, and I can't wait to talk to him about it, that I have taken on is in the shower, 30 seconds of cold water. And it's supposed to
Yeah, well, there's a.
Oh, there's a whole thing with ice.
Yes,
Yes.
it's hard.
No.
It's harder than it sounds.
It's all in an ice bath.
Yes.
No, I would have a heart attack.
Right, so Eli, that's on November 2nd, also on Zoom, so we can ask him. Believe me, I'll be talking about how do you do it. And it's great seeing everyone. We're here for Shabbat. And
The next
one?
the next one.
November 2nd, right?
The Burning Girls.
Burning Girls.
And we meet on, thank you for reminding.
20th of November.
It's a long story. So
No, that's right.
No,
Really?
I think it's.
Okay, so we have to read it like in
Right,
parts.
November, wait, November
Fifth.
5th.
No, the 20th is the evening book.
Oh, yes, yeah. So, yes, we're in the short story, we're meeting on November 5th, the first story in here. It is a little longer. This Thursday night, we're meeting with the author of The Whisper Sister, Jennifer S. Brown. And that was about prohibition and it was a great book if you want to come and listen to that. And then the next book in the evening is Ayelet Sabari's Songs of the Brokenhearted, which is probably somewhere in this library.
Yes, and I am reading it.
And
I will tell everybody, if you really want to read a very sexy book, read that
Okay. That's a hell of an introduction. Songs of the Brokenhearted.
Song.
Oh, so you'll read
Songs
that,
for the
but not a
brokenhearted.
memoir. Okay, this group. Yes, I
very risque.
right. And again, if you have,
I'm reading this book.
if you have Kindle Unlimited, she's the narrator. I like audiobooks. I read fast.
Especially if they read it.
Yeah.
I really do like.
And as long as we're off topic, I read 2 books because I had a lot of downtime waiting for the baby. One, The Broken Country by Leslie Claire Hall. Super sad. And set in England and a love triangle and how she, comes out of it. And then the other one is The Correspondent by Virginia.
I heard that was
Evans.
great.
And it's right in the epistolary that it's told through letters.
Right.
It's amazing.
Amazing.
Two amazing.
Another great book.
Yeah.
I just read The Wedding Tea book.
Oh, was it good?
It's light, but you just love this character so
Okay.
much. And talk about evolution of a character.
Yeah.
It reminded me when you were talking about that, Judy, of Schitt's Creek
Yeah.
and Hacks. In both those, the characters are so awful. And then as it moves through the series, you love them so much because of the evolution of their. No, really.
Okay, you got the book?
I do.
I've seen that.
All right, so I have to kick everyone out because my cute Hebrew teacher in Israel is waiting for me.
Okay.
Bye.